Team Canada has been absolutely dominant this summer, just coming off a massive win against Argentina last night. However, they took a major L off the court as Oklahoma City General Manager Sam Presti, along with his front office, made the decision to pull NBA All-Star out of this Team Canada roster, not letting him play for any more games for Team Canada this offseason. So I'm going to break down the stupid reason as to why he made that decision and how it'll impact Team Canada going forward this summer. Additionally, we might have the worst trade proposal, trade idea I've ever seen from Bleacher Report. So that's a high bar to set, but we'll dive into it in this video and a whole bunch more. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Guy, just breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And you guys know it, I've been plugging it in all of the recent videos. If you're interested in the Toronto Blue Jays, we just launched the Blue Jays Digest. They'll be seen in the pinned comment below, but you know, the Jays just had a massive win against the Red Sox, sweeping that series, so they're on their hunt to make the playoffs and have a big year this year, so definitely check them out. We're also on the road to 26,000 subscribers, so if you want to hit the subscribe button to us, will mean the world to me. But we have some NBA or just all around basketball stuff to cover in this video. And the first thing we're talking about, it's a positive, is Team Canada dominating in FIBA action as well as just basketball in general this summer, because this Team Canada team, undefeated this summer, just getting W after W. And Nick Nurse came into this summer essentially saying that the key is going to be building continuity, making these players familiar, just like Team France's, Team Serbia, Team Slovenia, right? They have the stars, they have the role players all coming in their lineups, and that's why they play beyond their abilities. They have that chemistry that's built up year after year, and while Canada has some of the most NBA caliber players, right? I think the second most NBA guys that are actually eligible to play for their international team, obviously outside of the United States, right? The US is going to be number one. We usually struggle in these international competitions. A big reason is because, one, these star players just don't show up day in, day out on a consistent basis, or day in, day out during these tournaments that are scant. They don't happen that often, but they don't always show up the same way. Giannis is always playing for Greece. Luka's always playing for Slovenia, right? Our top guys rarely come out consistently. And two, just the groove changes tournament in, tournament out. So it's tough to really build up that continuity and that chemistry. But this summer, it's sort of coming together, and we've seen a few names continuously return. Kelly Olynyk. Shai's been pretty good at trying to get out to tournaments, but he's really tried to lock in these past 2 summers, and I'll dive into why it's such a catastrophe that he's being pulled from the roster in the next segment. But Gilgeous-Alexander Walker, we have a few guys that have been balling out, and we end up getting a massive W against Argentina last night. And looking at the box score, we can see it, right? Shai just absolutely went off with 23 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. You know, knocked out some three three-point shots hit. Kelly Olynyk also balling out. There he is in the box score down below. 21 points himself. Not really knocking down his 3-point shot, just all around had an effective game out there on the court. Dwight Powell's a guy that I know I've bagged on a little bit just because he was bullied by, those Czech big men last summer, right? Not that he's a domineering center by any means, that we expect him to be that, but given the fact he's an NBA guy, he's playing the center position for Team Canada, should have been able to do more in that FIBA qualifying tournament. Not last year, the year before. I think it was last year with Satoransky, I believe, the former Washington Wizard, and those Czech big men just killing us. That was brutal to see. But Dwight Powell had a really nice spin move. If I want to play a spicy P lay of the day, a spicy P as in Powell, a spicy Powell play of the day. He had a really slick, just kind of fumbled the ball in a post and then a semi-fake pass. It was one of those Hakeem Olajuwon-esque spin fakes or whatever, and then went around the other side. So it's nice to see Dwight Powell just playing well, as I said, building up that continuity with Team Canada, playing within the system. So love seeing him balling out. But he had 12 points in the game. Corey Joseph, obviously former Toronto Raptor, another guy that has been pretty consistent in recent years of playing for the team. Gilgeous-Alexander Walker, again, used to play for the Pelicans. He's bounced around. I think he's supposed to be on the Utah Jazz at this point. Right, not the biggest game from him, but only played 10 minutes, had 8 points. Right, not too much there for Nikhil. But Edgem, former Orlando Magic guy, Cassius Robinson, I thought played really well. Then obviously you got Kevin Pangos and the Scrub brothers all balling out. I wanted to see a bit of Zach Edey in the game last night, but obviously a young guy, a promising prospect, but still probably a couple years away from really getting minutes on this Team Canada team. Right, I want to see him get a bit of action, but I'm happy this Canada squad beat this Argentina team, who's usually a pretty solid international foe. Obviously, they have Manu Ginobili for many years. Luis Scola, who we know turns into like prime Michael Jordan when it comes to international basketball. Sometimes did it for this Toronto Raptors team as well in years past, or a couple years. I don't know if he played 1 or 2 seasons with us, but he was a starting power forward during that 2016 run with Tupat backing him up. So that was an interesting time in Raptors fandom, probably one of the funnest seasons in Raptors history. One of them, I'm not saying the funnest season, but Team Canada getting the win against them is huge, given the fact that we've notoriously lost games, as I went on a rant earlier in this podcast, to like Czech Republic, to Venezuela, without Gravis Vasquez on their team too, right? These are the games we need to win. We need to dominate if we want to actually make a name in FIBA presence and then get into the Olympics where hopefully everyone shows up and everyone balls out. But that's the big thing with Team Canada. That's where this unfortunate news is coming into play, is that OKC management pulled Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Team Canada action. Now, this is brutal. And my bar is it's too long below because of Shai's long name, but this is just, it just sucks and it's stupid. I'm going on a rant with this, but I'll show the news first. These are 2 tweets from Michael Grange, essentially saying that, so perhaps not surprising, given the Chet Holmgren injury, word is that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be shut down after this game against Argentina and will not be available against Panama on Monday, as well as Nickeil Alexander-Walker will miss the Panama game as he's getting his wisdom teeth removed. So a health thing for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, unfortunate timing, but this just sucks for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then Grange goes on to further updates. I'll talk about that after. But I want to get my rants out first. Sam Presti. I know you're probably not the only guy making the decision in the Oklahoma City Thunder locker room, but you're the face of it, so you're getting called out by me. You're getting called out by the people that are supposed to be, fans of basketball, right? We're frustrated by not only the fact, right, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the most up-and-coming, one of the most promising young Canadian basketball players ever, right? We have a few, obviously, Steve Nash, Jamal Murray, Andrew Wiggins, they have some promise, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is right at that tier in terms of promise, in terms of potential development, a potential multi-time All-Star. I'm not saying he'll be as good as a Steve Nash or any of that, but the Oklahoma City Thunder have been ruining this guy's career. They're just consistently tanking year in, year out. And now with the Chet Holmgren injury, it's likely they're going to be tanking once again for Victor Wembanyama, or the French big man that everyone's expecting to be the next superstar in the entire NBA. But they sit him out for the end of seasons. It feels like for the past 2 years, Shai has barely played in March, even February, April, right? We're not talking about playoff time, so we're talking about the end of the season when the tankathon is going on, right? The Oklahoma City Thunder, they just have plantar fasciitis spreading like a virus throughout their locker room. That's just what's happening, right? They all get plantar fasciitis, sore knees, and all that sort of stuff, and they're sitting our guy. But then Shai says, you know what? I'm looking for some competitive basketball, right? I want to play in a game that actually means something, where I'm expected to win, right? Where our team isn't tanking for draft picks. Team Canada's not tanking for draft picks over the summer, right? And they draft Chet Holmgren, who there's injury question marks before. I looked at the video. Apparently the court was slippery. They had to cancel the game later regardless. But Chet suffers a freak injury in a Pro-Am game. A rookie that's not built like Shai, that's not been playing for an international team, playing in a game against LeBron James is what, a 19-year-old. And they're saying, you know what? Now none of our players can play international competition because we don't want anyone injured. Even though we're probably just going to tank this entire season anyway and sit them out in March and April and June and July and probably put bubble wrap around him. So maybe in 3 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder will be good, right? We're going to sit him out in games that actually mean something for his country. It's stupid. It's dumb. I know he's making millions of dollars. I know it's an investment, but The Bucks are out here letting Giannis play over in Eurobasket, right? Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, they're huge assets as well, and they're allowed to play in these teams. They're not worried about some weird slip and fall that happened to one of their rookie and all that sort of stuff. Like, what is this nonsense? Why are they keeping him out of this Team Canada action? I don't know. I saw that, and it's stupid. They got one game left. These players are training day in, day out, regardless if it's actual basketball game or not. Right, they're training. There's potential for injury when you're doing workouts, when you're playing 5-on-5 pickups, when you're doing all that sort of stuff. But no, a game that actually matters. The Oklahoma City Thunder can't be having that for one of their star players. They can't be having that making a name for himself on the big stage, representing his country. Can't let that happen because our Chet Holmgren suffered an injury. Dumb. Absolutely stupid. So that's my take on that. Sound off in the comments at Sam Presti what your thoughts are on there. Am I overreacting? Do you guys agree? But that's some cheese in my opinion. But to look forward to the Panama game, Corey Joseph will miss the game as he has a family matter. So we have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Corey Joseph. 3 key NBA guards out for the game against Panama. So Trey Bell-Haynes, JV Mukanyama, I can't pronounce words right now, I'm too frustrated, and Abu Kijab, who played for the Toronto Raptors Summer League team, they'll be called up. And Kevin Pangos, who formerly played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, been a big name around Canada basketball for a long time. He'll likely get the start, but what a huge blow to this team, having 3 of those guys out. An unfortunate situation, right? A game where Canada really needs a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being pulled for a stupid reason. I can't believe it. It's dumb. And even though this Team Canada squad is good, we have a lot of talent, we should beat Panama, and it's an important game. We've lost to worse. We've lost, or maybe not lost to worse, but we've had more embarrassing losses in seasons past with more NBA talent. Right, it's not a sure thing now with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being pulled. It's brutal. It's a brutal thing to see. So definitely tune in, support Team Canada, watch the games, watch the guys. Hopefully Kelly Olynyk, other guys on the roster will have a big game, but we'll see what happens. My frustration is boiling over. I'm moving into the next segment before I get too negative, too sad on this podcast, but I'm not really moving into something that will make my blood boil less, but the Bleacher Report, I guess this is more memes, this is more jokes, this is more just golden kazoos being thrown out, but Bleacher Report is notorious for making horrific Toronto Raptors trades, and recently in an article, they essentially made an article titled, "One Trade That Every NBA Team Can Do, or Should Do," or something like that, and I don't even know why I read through these, but I'm doing it for more of the comedy factor, not to take it seriously, folks. It's the off season. We need stuff to laugh at, stuff to be entertained by, and I think this is one of the most entertaining trades, one of the most stupid ones I've ever seen. It involves the Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam Presti, and maybe they think he's a beast, but finessing people. But Gary Trent Jr. going to the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Our star boy, our 23-year-old, averaging close to 20 points per game for a washed Derek Favors. A Darius Baisley, who is a glorified role player maybe at this point, right? Has some potential, but it's not very good. Theo Maledon, if he's Canadian too as well, I'm not even 100% sure, but bounced around the league a little bit. And a 2024 first-round pick, not even from the Oklahoma City Thunder, not even from a tanking OKC team, which actually would be valuable. You know, if we could get a top 5 pick for Gary Trent Jr., maybe you think about that more. But from the Clippers, that's protected. Clippers are going to be all right. You know, we're best case scenario for a draft pick concerns. They might be a late lottery team, but there's no value in that. We're giving up our star boy, Gary Trent Jr. It's going to be, taking steps forward, leaps forward on the defensive end, scoring the ball as a key contributor, playing a role that we desperately need on this Toronto Raptors team. For nothing? Just to say hi, thanks for pulling Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from our Team Canada team. You want one of our best players, Oklahoma City Thunder? Like, that's golden. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. The Paul Pierce golden kazoo. Might have to make a Sam Presti golden kazoo if the steal ended up going down. But that's just stupid. I saw another one in the article too that was less egregious, but still not something that I'm doing. Miles Turner, TJ McCollum, and a 2023 first round pick, top 12 protected. So it's from Boston. It'll go through, but not a big pick there. Not a TJ McCollum's value is not super high. Dealt with some injuries. Miles Turner, again, a guy that's been injury prone for not only just OG Anunoby, right? integral piece, our best defender, a key contributor to this Toronto Raptors squad that could also take a leap himself this current upcoming season, right? Also, Khem Birch, who I know is not a big favorited guy for Toronto Raptors fans, but still a solid big man presence there on the bench and has a very tradable contract if you want to actually make a deal that made sense for our team. Also, Malachi Flynn, who hasn't shown much in the NBA, but you're just essentially giving him away for no reason if in this deal. It's stupid. It's stupid. We're not doing that deal. We're not doing that trade. We're not doing either of these trades. It's just Bleacher Report coming up with nonsense. So I'm not even going to give him any more time. I'd rather make fun of it more, but I'm just so cheesed the Sam Presti stuff. This podcast has me angry, has me fired up. Get the the flames going. Ben Rogers is fired up. But the final thing we're talking about, the final thing we're discussing is some more, I guess not as nonsense as the other two topics, but the Raptors over-unders revealed. And once again, we're being underestimated. We're being not super highly valued. But essentially, they predicted that the Toronto Raptors will have the 7th best record in the East, being roughly 43.5 wins. Now, there's been a couple of over-under odds we've seen over the course of this offseason. This is the updated odds from DraftKings, and 7th best odds is just brutal. We were the 5th seed last season. We have an extremely young roster. No one in the East got significantly better this entire season, right? The Hawks got a bit better, right? The Sixers, James Harden's 1 year older. The Celtics, they may have frustrated one of their top stars. The Heat are certainly a lot older this year, and the Bucks, I think they'll come back healthy. They'll be solid, but I'm saying top 3 seed. Get out of here with this 7th seed nonsense. Don't put the Brooklyn Nets, don't put the Atlanta Hawks ahead of us. We are established. We are going to be solid next season. We established ourselves this season, and we're going to take another leap next year and shock the entire NBA. The bookies, the Bleacher reporters, Sam Presti, and all. Then we're going to trade for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I want to just memeingly address that, but I was too frustrated earlier in this video. But the Thunder aren't going to trade Shai. I know Raptors fans are saying it could happen. I don't think Shai's going to demand out because he was pulled from Team Canada action, but it's some fun. It's some fun nonsense. But folks, you guys are best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. As I mentioned earlier in this video, definitely subscribe to Jay's Digest if you haven't already. They'll be in the pinned comment down below. Subscribe to our channel. We're on that road to 26,000 subscribers. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.